So I always hear things like, saya tak faham kenapa kakak awak boleh buat, abang awak boleh buat, awak tak boleh buat. They start comparing, but at the time I didn't know what it was. I just thought, oh, sebab maybe because I'm a boy.
Hello?
Hai Zoe.
Hello.
Pernah dengar tentang ADHD tak?
Macam pernah dengar. Ya. Kenapa?
Okay. Today kita ada seorang yang you boleh interview.
Oh, really? Okay, can. You pass me the contact boleh?
Okay, boleh.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Sindrom Kurang Daya Tumpuan dan Hiperaktif atau lebih dikenali dengan ADHD seringkali dikaitkan dengan kanak-kanak. Secara peribadi, saya tak pernah jumpa sesiapa yang ada ADHD, tetapi apa yang saya tahu, ADHD ni kena dengan kanak-kanak yang aktif. Mungkin saya salah, saya akan cuba mendapatkan kepastian hari ini. Terima kasih Iman kerana sudi bersama saya pada hari ini. Iman, ceritakan sedikit tentang diri Iman dan bagaimana Iman tahu yang Iman ada ADHD.
Initially, saya tak tahu yang saya ada ADHD. Kakak saya yang masa tu dia pergi belajar di Bandar Gading. Dia punya therapist went to advise her lah to go and get checked for her anxiety levels. Yeah. So she went to get checked, then she got diagnosed with severe anxiety. So she went back to the therapist. Dengan therapist tu lah. Ni therapist kata anxiety is not a diagnosis. It's a byproduct of something else. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then she went to get a second opinion with Dr. Ken. So then Dr. Ken diagnosed her with inattentive ADHD. So then dia balik rumah, dia cerita-cerita lah to my mum. Then she said, she told us about it, and then it clicked with me lah. And then she said, she advised all of us to go and get checked.
Okay.
So that's when I decided to, okay, let's see what this doctor can like diagnose me with. Or at first it felt like a excuse lah. Macam it felt like macam I was looking for a way out for my tulang malas, you know, all my bad grades. According to doctor, ADHD is hereditary. So if one person in the family gets it, there's high chance that all of us have it. And it turns out that all the five of us have. But I'm the only one that has combined. My adik and my kakak, they have inattentive. And then I have combined. So it's type C, hyperactive and inattentive. Okay, so sekolah rendah tak sebegitu, it's not that bad lah. It only started showing after primary 2. Dari peringkat 3 sampai peringkat 6. Banyak hayal lah dalam kelas. Banyak hayal, cikgu tengah ajar kan. Dari belakang kelas, I would interrupt lah. A lot of interrupting. For instance lah, it says about reproductive system, things like that, right? I would just scream from the back to interrupt, to answer the question before she would be able to ask. So then I was put into EM2, but from then on my subjects all it just came crashing lah. Banyak ponting, banyak gaduh, banyak mencabar cikgu lah, buat cikgu nangis. Dan dalam kelas tak tahu duduk diam kan. Habis especially during class matematik lah, I couldn't like process the algebra and whatnot, right? So I was just ponting lah. Bila Iman ponting kan, Iman punya niat is to macam kelas boring lah, macam duduk kat kelas buat apa kan. Cikgu berbual pun I hayal, get in trouble, and then for what, right? And then they got my mum. So it started lah, got my mum, and then then again my girlfriend at the time. We were like I don't know, my cikgu called us Bonnie and Clyde lah, because we get into trouble a lot.
Sama-sama juga ponting.
Yeah, sama-sama ponting. And then but she was a good student. I was the one with the undiagnosed ADHD, right? So people will see as, oh, he's a bad influence, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So a lot of banyak sangat lah. I couldn't regulate my emotions well. And then saya tanyalah my counsellor said, oh, because you're a teenager, a lot of the hormones are imbalanced. So this is how we can help you. So then at the time I thought, okay, so it won't be an issue when I get older.
Mungkin it's just that phase.
Semua adik-beradik Iman, we attended the same school. So cikgu-cikgu kita semua they were recycled lah in a sense. So I always hear things like, saya tak faham kenapa kakak awak boleh buat, abang awak boleh buat, awak tak boleh buat. Then kenapa kakak awak boleh ambil apa ni? Boleh masuk sekolah like St. Margaret's lah.
Diorang suka ni lah, compare.
Dia to compare and then habis nak cakap kakak awak perempuan, abang awak pun boleh buat. Kenapa awak tak boleh buat? They start comparing. But at the time I didn't know what it was. I just thought, oh, sebab maybe because I'm a boy.
You doubt yourself, there's a lot of questions to you. Okay. So sekarang ni macam mana ADHD ni mengganggu you, your work sekarang ni, pekerjaan anda dan mungkin kehidupan sosial anda?
So before seeing the psychiatrist lah, banyak perkara-perkara yang Iman nak buat kan. Macam orang Malaysia kata semangat dominate lah. Kan? I get excited for a few minutes, a few days, habis lepaskan, tinggalkan. I just thought it was, the resounding voice in my head. Pemalas kan. Habis susah nak buat kerja. Kerja rumah tak teratur, kind of thing. I didn't know what it was lah. Even for my kawan-kawan lah, orang kalau ajak keluar, I'm selalu lambat. 1 jam, kalau tak lambat 1 jam, terlalu siang. 1 jam siang. Yeah, either too late or too early. And then there was a instance where, again, this was like before the diagnosis lah. Hanging out, one of my friends was like, they told me that diorang penat lah, basically, untuk ajak me keluar because it's either I lambat atau kalau tak lambat terlalu siang. And then the thing is, Iman tak suka tunggu, like get very like marah, begabra, that kind of thing. So lah, and then they told me lah about it. Then I was like, oh yeah. Then again, I didn't know what it was. And then so the friends that I used to hang out with, it became smaller and smaller. Yeah. And then to a point where I thought to myself, tak ada kawan okey apa, mati pun seorang-seorang lah. Yeah, then it went crashing lah, even like terrible.
All this that happened to you in your life, dia ada mengganggu tak kesihatan mental you?
Yeah, I mean definitely lah. I went to a phase of isolation one time because the feeling was, how to say, macam I didn't understand at the time what it was, right? So the voices in my head were like, macam, so then if you are causing all of these issues, the people around you, right? Macam kalau hidup menyusahkan orang kan, but you're living lah, begin with. So yeah lah, then to a doctor during when I was 17. Yeah, multiple attempts lah to take my own life. It was a very dark time. There's one time I OD'd, and then my mom found me lying on the kitchen floor. And then my mom rushed me to the hospital the next day. And then it's weird because we don't talk about that point in my life lah. But I think it was a common understanding lah that it was rock bottom lah when I OD'd.
So ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. So by the title, it already helped tell you what are the main symptoms. So there are 3 types. So they are the type that have the attention deficit. That means they are not hyperactive. Then there's the type that is only hyperactive. And then there is the type that is combined. That means they have both. They cannot concentrate and they're also hyperactive. So the commonest is to have both. and then the second component is just cannot concentrate. So doctors usually try to remember a mnemonic. Mnemonic means certain letters lah. We will teach the medical student PDF, not the document file.
Okay.
But P stand for procrastination, D for distracted, and F for forgetful. So you are forgetful, absent-minded, careless, dilly-dally. So if you have most of this, then it's quite likely you have this ADHD. Now, in children and in adults, this is very common. It's similar for both. They can have this hard to focus, careless. The hyperactivity part, that's a bit different. That is much more common in children and young people. So even if I see a case where they have both, that means cannot pay attention and hyperactive, they come as a child. So in adults, one of the major signs is that they can't focus. They might procrastinate, they might get distracted, they might be careless, forgetful, they got no sense of time because they are not paying attention properly. But the hyperactivity in adults is not so pronounced, so it may come about as feeling a bit restless, hard to sit still maybe in a long meeting. They can also be impulsive. Impulsive meaning, one famous expert on ADHD gave a good description. He says, you have ADHD, it's like you have the engine of say a Ferrari, a sports car, but your brakes is like a bicycle brake.
See, okay. So is there an increase in ADHD among the adults?
We don't think so. I mean, so there's no reason why there should be. So generally in young people, children and adolescents, we think about 8% of them. That means in every class, there will be a few lah. Then about 1/3 of them, as they grow into adulthood, they just recover by themselves. Meaning 2/3 still retain it. So adults maybe 5%, 4-5%. Children maybe 8%. Now, we don't think it's getting more common. At least there's no evidence. But what is happening is that more and more are being diagnosed. More and more are being diagnosed for two different reasons. For adults, more because I think much better awareness. So more and more adults are now recognizing that actually I could have ADHD because now there's more education, even like
More
programs like
awareness.
yours, more awareness, and groups, even self-help groups, awareness groups. Internet is one thing. Not everything you can find on Google. So because of that, more and more people are now recognizing themselves that they actually have ADHD and also more willing to come forward for treatment. Not like maybe 30 years ago.
Yes,
Nobody will diagnose this, and even if they might have it, they dare not to come for treatment.
Right. Why is that so? Is it because of the stigma?
Correct. I think maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago, if you see the psychiatrist, is that you're mad. That's for something serious, so they dare not to come. Nowadays, I think the stigma has slowly got less. There still is, but less. And also people are more willing to come forward for treatment. They are more aware that psychiatrists treat a whole range of conditions. In fact, most of the condition we treat is mild. If you look at studies that have followed up young people, with ADHD who have been received treatment and those that did not receive treatment, then you just see them over many years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. Then you check, all the areas of their life to compare. In adults that have not been treated, that means they have gone through life without being treatment, they are worse in every area that have been looked at. So what that means is that often, it's even sometimes as doctors, we don't fully recognize how much it really impact a person. Mostly we will be seeing the academic part they come, or sometimes in adults it's affecting their work. But it do affect every other area. So if you look at studies of people with depression who come to see psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, and if you screen them for ADHD, you will find that probably between 1/3 to almost half actually have ADHD. So why is that? Yeah, okay. One reason is they just tend to go together. Another is possibly because of the impact of the ADHD on the person. Say, for example, if you are being scolded, you are being called silly, you are being called lazy, you are being called useless. So all of these have a big effect on the self-esteem. And we know that this is a big problem, you know. So the patient with ADHD often struggle, you know, with your self-esteem, especially when they compare. Sometimes even they may tell us, most of the time they feel something is wrong, but they don't know what, you know. So that can be very frustrating, you know. So because of that, you know, self-esteem is a problem. Anxiety and depression commonly accompany ADHD. If you are diagnosed to have ADHD, then it might give you an explanation for why you have been suffering various symptoms, perhaps for most of your life, and what could help you, you know, with those symptoms and make your life have a better quality of life, and, you know, actually sometimes reverse some of those areas. Yeah, because I've had patients that have come to tell me, you know, they said that the treatment has been life-changing for them. Now, I don't want to oversell. You know, of course, we don't want to say everybody who come, they get treatment, their life miraculously turn around. No. But definitely, you know, quite a lot of cases, they share with me that the treatment has been life-changing for them. So we want to treat because we want people to have a good quality of life and be the best version of themselves. What it means is that you can be living a normal, fulfilling, active, productive life.
Iman sekarang menjadi seorang guru kan di sekolah. Jadi your majikan dia tahu tak yang Iman ada ADHD ni?
So initially Iman rasa segan lah nak bilang sebab ramai again ADHD not well known, right? So ramai orang akan fikir macam this is an excuse lah. So but I was advised to disclose it to HR. When I disclosed it, they didn't have any questions initially.
So itu untuk majikan lah. What about rakan sekerja? You rasa you perlu tak bilang diorang?
I have learned to tak buat kawan dekat kerja. Yeah, I've learned to separate rakan kerja dengan rakan kat luar. So rakan kerja kan dah 7 hours. And then okay, mingle, then after that cut off, go home. I like meeting new people. Tapi if I want to go again and say, I have ADHD, yada, macam penat. There's a lot of effort to speak to them about it. Yeah, there's not a lot of awareness of it. People just think, ADHD is just hyperactivity lah. Yang paling penting is for people to understand lah that ADHD tak boleh dipulih. Can only be treated. That means you have to learn to live with it lah. Like from someone who has ADHD, right? The aspect that from my aspect, if you know you have it, right, you cannot expect people to cater to your disorder. You have to learn how to control it first, and then tell people about it. In a way, I learned how to hack my brain. So if I have to do like kerja rumah or any task initiation things, right, I would take the medication first. And then I'll wait for it to kick in, 45 minutes to 1 hour, right? And then my brain will be like, I need to jemur baju today. Then my body just goes and jemur the baju. Then I'm like, if I didn't take the medication, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Are you worried? Because benda ni is keturunan kan? So kalau if you have to have your own family, are you going to be worried? Are you prepped for it?
I don't feel risau because I feel like I am learning to get a better handle of it, and definitely lah, my future kids will have it. It's just prepping for it to happen and early intervention, catching it earlier than me lah. Hopefully a lot earlier lah. It gets easier lah. But the responsibility is there on you lah to learn about it. Jangan harapkan orang lah. Learn how to manage it and live with it. Then the initial part is very difficult. There's a lot of things to do. But after you understand how the disorder works and how to hack your brain, quote unquote, it gets easier lah. I mean, to anyone who has macam the doubt to get diagnosed, right? My advice is to just go, because if it's not this, it's something else. So at least go through the process of elimination. But I can confidently say if they can relate lah to my story, right, 90% of the time it's ADHD. So go and get diagnosed, and then you can work on treating it.